a lot of people think that entrepreneurship is easy and then you just gonna make $1 million. You know, it doesn't work like that. You know, like you have to have the mind frame for it. You know, what I mean by that is you got to go from getting a paycheck every week. So, you know, like a lot of people are comfortable like that. You know, I know what I'm going to make every week. Every Friday when I get my check, I have $2,300, $1,500, or $800, whatever. You know, but when you're in a business of your own, one week you might not make anything.
Yep.
You know, 1 month you might not make anything.
You're listening to the Good for Business podcast, where we feature interviews, tips, and tricks from owners, operators, and innovators throughout Mississippi and around the world. And now, your host, Colin Krieger. Welcome to this week's episode. We're here with Ledrico Isaac, owner of Yo Bar, photographer extraordinaire, and the master of Game of Thrones. He literally rents out throne chairs, man. Welcome to the show.
How you doing? Mr. Colin?
Doing pretty good, man. Tell me your pedigree. Where you from?
Okay. Well, a lot of people don't know that I'm actually born in Starkville.
There you
go. I moved to Columbus. Well, we moved to Columbus. I was young. So raised on North Side, 20th Street to be exact.
There you go.
Born 5 kids, you know.
Yeah.
Moms. It was kind of everything you can ask for when you were young. A house full of kids.
Yeah. What about now? You got any wife, kids, anything?
Married.
Puppy dogs, snails, anything?
No pets.
No pets.
No
okay.
pets. No pets at all. Married. July the 5th, made 11 years. Have a 15-year-old son. That's basically it, you know.
That's basically it. Well, let's get to the origin story. Speaking of going to Starkville, I always like to hear about little bitty Ledrico running around. What was your first job you can remember? Were you cutting grass, washing cars? What were you doing?
Well, I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
So that was a fun experiment. This guy named Mr. Skeet, he used to run the Boys and Girls Club. So that was one of my mentors, you know, growing up. So he kind of like kept me in the streets, kept me out the streets. Is
that same Skeet from Skeet's Hot Dogs?
No.
Man, how many Skeets can there be?
Well, we call him Mr. Skeet. His name was Mr. Darrell Ware.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, that was one of the guys that I looked up to and pretty much taught me a lot of stuff, you know. So he the one started me in sports.
Kept you out of trouble?
Mostly.
Yeah,
mostly. So he gave me the pedigree on everything that I do now. Let me just say that.
There you go. So you were in the Boys and Girls Club. Did you ever have it? Did you volunteer there, or what was your first actual job in life?
My first job coming straight out of high school, I actually worked at the Boys and Girls Club when it was on 20th Street, the old Boys and Girls Club, not the new one on 14th.
Yeah.
All right. We did a lot of stuff growing up. You know, like we raised a lot of money for the Boys and Girls Club. You know, like we actually thought that, you know, that was the whole purpose of the gym and everything because we like shooting basketball and, you know, just playing sports. But that was actually my first job. Working at the Boys and Girls Club right after high school.
Cleaning up and fundraising and that sort of stuff? Or
everything to it. But, you know, like we kind of like, let me just say, monitoring the kids, you know, different stuff like that. Yeah. But that's one of my first jobs.
What did you do after that?
After that, let me tell you what I did after that. I actually worked on a garbage truck.
Really?
Yeah.
Here in town?
Yes.
That's some work.
That's one of the easiest, nastiest, hardest jobs ever.
I tip my guys every once in a while and apologize because I'm like, I got 3 teenage daughters. We throw some stuff in there, man.
Man, listen, I can't do nothing but give a big ups to the city workers, you know, garbage truck workers, anybody that's doing that type of work like that, man. So I kind of like been on. I worked at for the city. I worked on a garbage truck. I worked at Sanderson Plumbing. And then I actually got a real job. I quote unquote call it a real job. So I worked on 69 at Janesville Acoustics.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I've just heard about it. But
yeah. So I worked there for like 6 years.
What'd you do there?
I was lead operator. I ran this line. So basically what we made out there was like, if you pop your trunk and you see that grayish, blackish lining, that's the stuff that we made out there.
Yeah. There's a lot of like factories that were here.
Yeah.
I'm not from here. I've only been here 20 years. So I always say there's little old ladies in big white houses downtown. They're like, you're not from here. I'm like, what? 20
Right.
years I put in my time, but didn't quite count. But that's what around 21 years ago was when like a lot of the Johnson, Tom Bigby and Amnova,
Right.
they were going out of business as I was pulling into
Right.
town. So you did 6 years there and were you just cut? How do y'all make it? Was these putting chemicals in a vat and making
No,
it?
no. we ran like, it was like fiber.
Yeah.
Like we ran this machine and kind of like made the material. That's all I can say about that. If you have to know just to know.
Just the job.
Just the job. So, but after that, I left there and I only stopped at 2 more jobs. I worked at Hydrovac, which is Envirovac.
A lot of people put in their time there. How long ago was that?
It was a while ago. I say like almost 10 years ago.
Okay.
I say around 2015, 16 or something like that. Then after that, I went to IP, warehouser.
The big one or the little one?
The little one, CMF.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first one, let me just say that. But during those times, that's when I, like the job thing just wasn't for me. Like I was just going through some things, just trying to get a paycheck and to try to add up and try to save up something to start my own business. And that's basically what I did. I just used those funds, that I was getting from the jobs to actually start my own business.
So were you doing photography first or the bar first?
Yeah, I was doing photography first.
There you go. And how did you just self-trained or did you learn to do it?
Yeah, self-trained. And I actually, everything that I did or do is self-motivated, self-trained, just learning from different people, doing my own homework,
Yeah.
But no classes.
Were you
nothing.
studying on YouTube or anything? I think that's one of the best things of the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah, YouTube is our best teacher right now.
Oh, absolutely.
You can learn anything from YouTube.
No, and ideas too.
Yeah.
Like of just tricks and tips and tricks for photography. Cause
right.
I'm an award-winning photographer from being I worked at the paper for a little while, but it was only from learning from YouTube.
Right.
And that was in 2010, 11, and 12. Like, oh my God, like any question you had was on there. Like, right. I got this camera. What's the setting to do this at night when somebody's, standing in bad light and learn that sort of thing. What were you doing photography for weddings or just like events and stuff?
Oh, I did photo shoots. I did weddings. I did private events. I did business events. I'm actually the photographer for PACCAR.
Oh, really?
Every year I do their awards day, which is coming up August the 9th, I think. It's August the 9th. So
I like what PACCAR does. I was just talking on the last podcast with Renee from United Way about that. PACCAR like contributes to the community and does a lot of stuff. And man, it's a good example. Mentioned International Paper,
right?
Or Weyerhaeuser, but their Weyerhaeuser and International Paper kind of forgot about now that there's all this big, huge factories out here, and they're still writing big checks.
Oh yeah.
Kellum Kim, who's Kellum Hawk now at International Paper in Plum Nelly, like they're writing some huge checks, United Way and these other charities, and they're not as visible because a lot of the people who've been working there for
years,
so long that you may not see them like the grocery store at Sunflower or whatever, but they're out there participating.
Right.
So I'm glad you're supporting them. So when does the Yo Bar pop up? What year?
2018.
Okay.
So that's been 7 years.
And that was over on Blue Cut, right?
No, we actually started on 45.
45. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's next to Sonic.
Yeah. Yep.
It's next to Sonic.
I don't remember that. Okay.
Oh yeah. So that was
why I got to ask the story.
Right. So the whole thing about that, like we stayed there from 2018 to 2020.
Yes.
And we kind of like caught COVID. But Yo Bar, owning a bar was always a dream for me. Yeah. I always wanted to own a bar. It's been since I was 15. So, I finally just said forget it. One day, matter of fact, for my bachelor party, we actually went to Atlanta we stayed at my sister's house. One of my best friends, Denetrius Ledbetter.
Yeah.
We stayed at her house and went to a few bars, few strip clubs, whatever you want to call it. And I kind of like got ideas from all of the bars in that area in Atlanta, I used to have a mechanical bull. I got that idea from actually the U-Bar. I walked up in there. We rode. Well, I didn't. She rode the mechanical bull. We had a good time. Yeah. I said I wanted it. when I go out, I used to always go out. Buffalo Wild Wings used to be my favorite restaurant to go out to. And then mainly because I like the lighting. I like all the TVs. So in the first bar, that's why I put all the TVs around, got that from Buffalo Wild Wings. And then my wife and I, we used to go to Wet Willie's, if we go to New Orleans, if we go to Memphis or something like that, we like the frozen daiquiris. So that's why we got the frozen daiquiri machine. So basically what I did, I just took ideas from a lot of different areas and then just put them all in one.
Yeah.
But what can I say? 45, we kind of like outgrew it real fast. We didn't have a big capacity, so that's why we moved to the boat gallery.
Yeah, I mean, I could say this for Columbus from what I expected. So when I moved here after Hurricane Katrina almost 20 years ago, the only reason my mother, who went to University of Alabama in the early 60s, she knew what Columbus was because Columbus was the river town where you went to drink.
Right.
And so when I got here, they had the Elbow Room was still open downtown, a couple other places, and there were a couple clubs right by the railroad tracks. But I was like, man, there isn't I like to say a middle class bar, like just a place you go at night that you would have in a bigger city. I just expected more here. So I think you obviously found a need, someplace people could go and feel safe and have a good time.
Yeah, but sometimes like when you growing up in a small city, small town like this, like a lot of people won't gravitate to something new. Yeah. So, it's kind of like, dang if you do, dang if you don't. So, it was one of those situations. Some people, you cater to the people who like it, and you just have to keep pushing for the ones that don't, If they jump aboard, then they just jump aboard.
So I remember you went over to the boat gallery. Did you have to was that zoning thing before or after you'd already started running?
No, it was a zoning issue. Well, I'm not going to say issue. It was a situation where we had to get a permitted, like use. So as far as the zoning was commercial, but the different type of zoning that it was with the businesses that was around, that's why we had to get permission from like the zoning commission, planning commission board.
Yeah.
It really wasn't a big issue. It's just like to me the public, the patrons, the city, the citizens rather, they the ones that just made it a big issue because it was just like we wasn't wanted in that area. So that was one of the biggest problems. So
yeah, and like so when you started that, is Yo Bar like essentially just you as far as the company going on there?
Yeah, it's 100% me and my wife.
There you
go. So but 100% me. We actually. Oh, how do you put it? Let me say, I won't say sponsors are, like just say some type of investors. I gave people a lot of chances to like invest in it.
Yeah.
Some people really just didn't want to take a chance, but after we start rolling, then they wanted to take a chance because they see, how that goes. So,
well, like I said, you're feeling a need where people want to go do something and get together.
Yeah.
Like I hear all the time people like, well, there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do here. I'm like, well, the size of the town's going to affect that. And then there's also the argument of, multiple people who've started kid zones and stuff like that. And I understand they're not the same thing you see in Birmingham or Memphis, but like they're trying, and then they don't get much support, and then they go out of business.
Well, that's the biggest thing. Like we always complain about is nothing to do, but then when you try to find something to do or someone try to bring something to do, everybody just kick back on it.
Yeah.
So
well, you pushed through that, and talk about the challenges of opening your own place when you've gone from whatever 10 years in a row getting a paycheck every week, and then as I like to say, that first you sit down behind the bar and open the door the first Friday night, and you're like, okay, all right, where is everybody? Okay,
right. Listen. So basically, to piggyback off the question, Colin, a lot of people think that entrepreneurship is easy, and then you just gonna make $1 million. It doesn't work like that. Like you have to have the mind frame for it. What I mean by that is, you got to go from getting a paycheck every week. So, like a lot of people are comfortable like that. I know what I'm going to make every week. Every Friday when I get my check, I have $2,300, $1,500, or $800, whatever. But when you're in a business of your own, one week you might not make anything.
Yep.
1 month you might not make anything. You probably make whatever, you probably make your money back. You probably make no profit at all. So, like those are the challenges that you have to deal with when you're an entrepreneur. So if you can't really just accept those challenges, it's probably best to, like just stay working.
I call it a grown-up job. I haven't had a grown-up job in a long time, but yeah, that's what I call it. And I always tell people, especially in a restaurant, you're in a restaurant business, like Doug's at Zachary's, Helen or Kabir was at Helen's forever. Mr. John's at United Deli. Even during COVID, at the end of COVID, you go to, like, the Huck Boys are always at Huck's, but the Beans, which have 20 franchise restaurants, I saw, the people that own Harvey's are cooking at Harvey's at the end of COVID. Like, they just think work's going to be gone. Old Hickory's had the owners there for years. Like, it's hard work to get to a level where you even can take a weekend off. So did you have many employees at the first before you got the Blue Cut? Or?
Yeah, we had a lot of employees. We employed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like the turnover, like any restaurant or any bar or any, it's just part of it. So I can say a lot of people that we actually hired or had working with us or for us, like a lot of them went on and do their own thing. What I mean by that, a lot of them have their own businesses. So, it's not the point of we want people to come and work for us and then work for us forever.
Yeah.
We want to try to push, like I want you to look at it like, if I can do it, you can do it. Now, I'm not saying everybody have to do the same thing, but if you want to start a business, you can learn a lot from some of the people that you work under.
Yeah.
Some of the people that you work for. So, like being in a restaurant business is tough. Like you have to deal with the public, man. Like you can fry a piece of chicken too hard, and it's tougher when it's a small business, compared to like a franchise or a corporation. You can fry a piece of chicken too hard at Longhorns, and like they don't mind redoing. I mean, we don't either, but it won't affect them as much.
Well, if you're putting out a $20 plate of wings or something, and they want you to redo them and give you a hard time, you just lost at least $6-7 worth of food.
That's what I'm saying. So like it's kind of like one of those situations that you have to make sure you got the right people in place.
Yeah, that's when people ask in restaurants, they're like, "Why is a mixed drink $6?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's because you keep returning my food and complaining about salad and stuff." Plus, it's hard. The hardest part is how do you order food and then all of a sudden it's Saturday night and you got all this lettuce left and all this other stuff. You didn't make any money off of it.
I literally before I came up here, I just went up to the bar to put in the order because we actually Saturday night. We actually ran out of catfish. We in a catfish alley, but we actually ran out of fish. Like it's just something that you have to know what to do.
No, it's hard. And it's hard to, of course, you went through COVID with it. So,
when
what year were you on Blue Cut? Was that before
2020?
COVID? Okay. So
that was
perfect timing.
Perfect timing. That was like right at the end. Yeah. So 2020 is when we kind of like moved on. COVID gave us the boost that we needed. So it wasn't always bad.
People were trying to get out of their house.
Yeah. So, like, of course, we had to do half of the capacity. Being that we had to do half of the capacity, we was at a 99-person capacity at the first spot.
Yeah.
Just say 100-person capacity. So we was able to have 50 people in there. We was able to do to-go orders. And that's basically it. So, like it came to the point where we just was like, man, we need a bigger building. I had a different plan. The whole plan to move on Blue Cut, they actually found me, actually. And the whole plan when we moved on Blue Cut was to kind of like challenge, it's going to sound crazy, but kind of like challenge the Trotter. What I mean by that, it was a bigger building, and we wanted to bring a space where people can actually throw shows, have bigger parties, do weddings if they wanted to, do receptions, just have options instead of everybody just being able to go to the Trotter is going to be the Trotter anyway. It's going to be, you might try to get it this Friday, but it's booked.
Yep.
So we wanted to have like different options that you can come to. But
how many people could you fit in there?
At the boat gallery?
Yeah.
Whew. I think the capacity was like 1,500.
Oh wow. That's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah. So it was pretty big. It was pretty big.
Now I know you had different problems. I've talked to the guys at Patio 45 before about noise complaints. Did you have noise complaints from neighbors, or is it I know before you were open, people were like, oh, we don't want a bar, whatever here on, and whatever, they have a right to complain about it. After you were open, what was the biggest challenges you had?
Well, we never had noise complaints because the building, you couldn't hear in and out that building.
People parking across the street, I remember that.
That's our biggest concern. Like even now, where we at now, like I can guarantee you the biggest thing that came about with your bar is just parking. Which is crazy. I mean, we respect it, we understand it. Like of course I don't want to own a lot and then someone just parking over there and trashing it or whatever you think. But what I can say is we tried to, everywhere we went or go, we try to talk to our neighbors and we let them know, like we have people to, even if it's not all trash, we still pick it up. Like we're not going to let anybody just trash the area. We don't want our area to look bad. We don't want your area to look bad. But it's like, as far as your bar concerned, it's nothing else that anyone can say to like quote unquote get us in trouble because we go by the book with everything we do. So the only thing they could pick on us about is parking, So that was, I mean, we made it past that. So it was just one of those things like it's just the people they didn't want us there in the first place. So it doesn't really make, so if they can't get us one way, they'll just try to sabotage us with the parking issue.
Did you have to step anything up? Because I think it was just like one Saturday night that at least most of the public heard about. Like it was, I think maybe right after y'all started or something.
Well, you talking about at the new spot?
Yeah.
No, it was the grand opening.
Yeah.
We opened at we opened February the 7th, and so to break it down, that was before the store actually opened. And I actually talked to the owners of the store, and we let them know like the overflow of parking is gonna be at the store and at Dollar General.
At the new Chevron, right?
Right, correct. So, we already had that under control and everything situated. So, of course, we didn't allow anybody to park at Dollar General because they don't close to 10. So, after 10, we in control of the parking.
Yeah.
So, we got all that situated. It's just other businesses, which I don't really want to get into, the politics of it. But, other businesses, they just didn't want, they talked to different people and they just didn't want us parking, which I don't even understand. But it's their property. They can do whatever. So
yeah, y'all got a good bit of parking back there. Anyway.
Yeah, we pretty good. I actually put a privacy fence up back there with the patio.
Yeah.
So I can actually get 40, 50 more cars on the back.
Oh, okay.
Every weekend. It's not like it's an everyday thing where you're going to have an overflow of parking. So Fridays and Saturday nights pretty much. And I hire guys. They come there every weekend. So those guys, they park the cars, they pick up the trash. Even in places that don't want us to park, we still make sure, that all those areas are clean. So that's what we do.
What was the time in between the one on each of them? So like, were you down sometime between 45 and Blue Cut and
no, 45 and Blue Cut? No, it was a transit.
Yeah,
it was a quick transition. So we was down a year from Blue Cut to military.
Yeah.
So we was shut down the whole 2024.
And what were you doing during that time?
I was really just meditating.
There you go.
I really, to be honest, I really wasn't even planning on opening back up here. I wanted to take, with my wife and I, we traveled to a couple of spots, and, like we like Houston, we like Atlanta, we like all of, different places. Yeah. But I wanted to move, and I almost didn't open the Yo Bar back up in Columbus.
Really?
Yeah, it was on my mind heavy. But then, once again, she talked me into it, and like we could just go with it. I thought at first I was doing it I thought it was going to be a great thing, which it is, but I thought it was going to be a great thing. But I thought a lot of more people would be, and I'm talking black and white.
Yeah.
I thought a lot of more people was going to be a little bit more accepting of it, and that was kind of like gave me the thought about like, let me just go to another location. But I can say this to the people that's actually in a business that I am.
Yeah.
It's if we can run and operate a business like this in Columbus, Mississippi, you can run and operate one like this anywhere else. Yeah, this has to be the hardest area to operate a business, a restaurant business, a bar business, or anything. Let me tell you why. You want me to break it down to you?
Yeah,
Why,
go
Colin?
ahead.
All right, so basically what it is when you travel, if you go to a bigger city, bigger state, what is it that bigger cities, bigger states have that Columbus, Starkville, West Point don't have? Just think about the question.
Traffic. I'm trying to think of a little more money.
Yeah, well,
income.
most definitely, those are some of the good things. But the things are, you got attractions, and bigger cities like they have tourists. So it's kind of hard to run a business here because every weekend is what? Almost the same people.
Same crowd.
You see what I'm saying? And what people don't understand is not the actual place, because anything can happen anywhere. It's not the actual place that's causing any type of friction. You know, like it's the people that's coming in there, you know. But if you shut down this place right here, what they're going to do? They're just going to go to another place.
Well, I've talked to a couple of our previous chiefs, and like part of the stuff, when we have to be out there, part of the stuff's on the problem, especially with all 3 locations, has been the public perception of some members of the white community that think, oh, it's all dangerous because it's black folks. I can tell you, when I used to work at the Packet, and I've known all our last 6 police chiefs, the biggest challenge they have is when there is this group of kids, and I always say they're usually kids, and they kind of break into cars, and then it's been a relatively quiet last year,
right,
in Columbus. You can say the police chief's doing a good job, but part of it is the next kind of crop of bad kids is kind of coming up. And I'm not talking about kids who are going to go play in an arcade. I'm talking about the 18 to 21-year-old kids who are going to get into a bar, 23-year-olds,
right,
who are like, once you cross over 25 years old, you ain't have many problems because they've come through a tough situation and they're standing. Was that they have nothing to do.
Right.
You know, probably the worst time I saw was 2012 or 13. You know, I was mainly referring, like, you know, we had the Elks Club and other bars off of, like, by the railroad tracks and stuff that were just brown bagging it and kind of getting wild in the parking lot. And like you said, after the first night, you got to control your parking lot. Like, it's over. You
haven't heard a peak or cry or anything, you know? So it's just more of with the Yo Bar. It's like you want to be a part of this crowd. You got to be a part, you know, like you got to be a part of your people. So if your leader, if someone is over your group says that they don't want someone here, like either you go with it or you're not part of the group anymore. You know, like that's basically what's going on. So it's nothing wrong. And the crazy thing about it, I just talked about this yesterday. Let me break off this. It's like, the younger generation, when I say the younger generation, I'm saying like 21 to 25.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't come up in there a lot because it's too nice for them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you have my generation, my age group, you know, in the 30 to 45 range. These are my peers. So they really don't come because they just don't want to see me. You know, like it's kind of like I grew up with him. We supposed to be in the same whatever.
It's almost like if you had a franchise bar that did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
If you were Buffalo Wild Wings or
most definitely,
people would go because that's a good point, especially when you're talking about the local thing like
exactly.
that. Where because I can think of, I would tell this story growing up. So there's a place called Mama's Place. I grew up in New Orleans. There's a bar in every neighborhood. And we were allowed to work there when we were 13 years old.
Right.
We got to have 1 beer because we were 13. And then when you're 14, you worked like 6 hours, you get 2 beers. But I can think of like times we didn't want to go there with a date because my friends would be picking on us. Or when I got older, like we didn't want to hang out there because we're going to see our dad's friends.
Right.
Because that neighborhood was so small, but we'd have no problem going to the daiquiri store or wherever else.
Yeah.
So that's an excellent point because you have a limited amount of people who are going to come.
Correct.
And especially since like, the W has college kids, but not a lot, not enough to affect a bar, and I think they've had some bars downtown the Princess is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
Princess is one of the few places that figured out, honestly, how to get white and black youth in their 20 in the same place.
Right.
And then they had a couple issues, but they were like outside, and it was for that same reason. Everybody knew each other. you cannot control outside. Why do you think when people go out of town, when people are at home partying, that's when the most drama happens, the most problem. But those same people can go out of town, go out of state, and you can see videos on TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook Live, and they having a great time at a place that's no better than what we are now, So that's what I'm saying. They feel comfortable acting up like that, like a kid who acts, like our parents might have beat us with reeds and we could never have a Coke. When,
Right.
when the grandkids go there, they're all nice to them
Right.
because they know they're familiar and they know them. And yeah, that is a good point, man. Talking about how like you get into certain habits and then like we don't go like I don't. It's my wife had cancer right before COVID. She finished chemo. She's doing good. Feel well. She's doing good now. She finished chemo right when COVID started. So like, and now I'm approaching 50. Like we don't go out at night.
Right.
So I have friends like Huck's used to be open during the day and now they're closed and I don't go. But like you should like I went to like I just don't go out at night. So I have friends who have all these businesses. Man, I'd love to see them. Like I mean, you could be my favorite band in the world, and if you're playing 20 miles away at 9:00 at night, you
probably won't see them. That's a good point too. Like a lot of people, I don't like going out for real. Like I go to bars. It's crazy. Like everybody asks me, like, how do you own a bar, and you don't even like going? I don't like being around a lot of people. They like, well, you be around a lot. I be working.
That's how
it's a difference, you know.
I like shaking babies and kissing hands and meeting people, but
yeah,
I get home at 5:00 sometimes when like, I'm exhausted from talking, you know.
But you know, Colin, back to the end point of that conversation. Then we have the older, and right now I'm talking about I'm gonna say the blacks right now. So now you have the older. That's why I tell them it's a lot of stuff that I'm catching hell with blacks, whites. So it don't matter to me, you know, like I don't see color because everybody is being negative about something.
Yeah.
You know, so the older black people, they don't understand what it is. They just heard what, you know, the packet or, you know, the commercial dispatch, what they read, you know, which I don't blame them, but you know, at the same time, they don't try to get a clear understanding about nothing either. So it's kind of like they don't want to come in there because they ain't coming in there with all them young folks.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they say. So, you know, we trying to market and get it out there to where people can understand, like, you don't have to just come over here to the Yo Bar on Fridays and Saturday nights. We open every day except Monday at 11 o'clock. You know, stop by, get you something to eat, you know, get you some lunch, you know. The only difference is we listen to a variety of music. We just have soft music playing. No different from anywhere else. If you go to Mi Hacienda, what they got playing on the radio?
I don't even know because it's so soft. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But it's, you know, like they playing Mexican music. That's what you hear. You go to the Grill, Longhorns, or anywhere, you know, like I call it the casino music, you know, what they play. Because those are the songs that you hear at the casino. You know, it's just when you come to Yo Bar, we just have all genre of music, you know. You might hear rap. You might hear R&B. You might hear Tennessee whiskey. You know, like, you know, it's just different stuff. So, you know, but it's soft music, you know. On Fridays and Saturday nights, we probably have a live band or a live DJ, you know. So, but we don't have any complaints. We want our neighbors to understand that no matter what you heard or whatever you think, like we want everybody to be a part, you know. Like we have a lot of white people that actually come in, man. You'll be surprised. And every time they come in for their first time, they say the same thing. I really didn't even think it was this nice. You know, like they tell my wife all the time, that, you know, like they was like, one white couple actually came in and said, we don't really care what they've been talking about you guys. You guys are good people. And we really just can't believe that. So when they came in, they actually enjoyed themselves. They stayed for hours on top of hours, and then they brought their other friends back the following week. So that's what we're trying to do. Like I just tell everybody, just don't knock it until you try.
Yeah. Well, that's why I kind of started the podcast, so I could talk to people. But once you get to know somebody, it's kind of hard to hate them.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of times, of course, in newspapers, nobody's fault. Like, you know, nobody has time to explain it. You might talk to the newspaper for 30 minutes and print one line. Like they have a certain amount of time to explain it. And Facebook's the best and the worst because like you can't explain everything. I always get very defensive. I'm like, be specific. If you're trying to be mad at somebody, like if you're complaining that the firefighters in Columbus don't get paid enough, but you live in a county where they don't get paid,
right?
We have to have that discussion. Speaking of Facebook, man, and I didn't know this till really right before I reached out to you. You're a monster on Facebook. Is it 20,000 something followers or something?
Yeah, well,
you're mentoring some people.
22,000. Oh, like almost 23,000 followers.
There you go. And I saw you mentoring some people about like you're making money on Facebook.
Oh yeah. So you know, like I
you're making money anywhere there's money to be made.
anytime. I really wish I left my wallet
Okay.
But the wallet that I use, I've been using it for a while. It's called the Code 118.
Yeah. You told me.
I got it pinned on my post.
This is a paid endorsement. We're going to put this in here.
It's a paid endorsement. Yes, please put that in there. So I actually get monetized off that as well.
Yeah.
But it's just not something that I'm trying to get people to buy just because I'm in on it. I don't own it. Let me just say that. I'm just an affiliate. I got an email last week, and I just been going each sale that I make 5% off each sale.
What's a wallet cost then?
A normal wallet, you use my code, you get 15% off. The wallet is $45.
Oh,
no more than
like,
$60.
I'll buy a wallet, just be nice.
Yeah, it's some nice features too to it. So like it's real nice.
Well, I believe this as far as I've talked before about, like, I don't go to Walmart if I don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, supporting local business. To me, there's no difference of me buying that wallet from you than supporting a kid at a lemonade stand. Like our friends at Schoolhouse Ice Pops, they're on Military Road. That's an endorsement,
right?
But like of Desiree and her, but like of supporting them, it's the same thing as supporting you. Like,
oh yeah,
I could have gone to lunch today and spent $40. I'll buy a wallet from you, and you deserve it, because the better everybody in Columbus does, the better everybody in Columbus does. So you on your journey on Facebook, how long have you been building up? Slowly over 10 years? Or you just all of a sudden figured out, like, if I follow, you said on one post that caught my attention, I just did what they said every day.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. Like, they want to give you money, do what you do.
You just go to it, and you can actually just change like what you want to, it actually, what do you want to do? Do you want to reach more followers? Do you want to enhance your payout? Do you want to whatever? Like, you just go through and do whatever they say, like it's telling you to make sure you come in on 10 posts.
Yeah.
Do that. Make sure you come in on your star senders. You do that. Make sure you do 15 reels per month.
Yeah.
You do that. Like, it's just different stuff. I'm still learning now. I'm not saying that I know everything about it, but I know my process of, my progress rather, of what I've been doing to make the most I made off Facebook was like $4,500. My first big payout was 22. So my goal is to try to make $5,000 to $10,000 a month off Facebook.
Be nice.
Yeah.
I've just started looking at it, because for me, the goal really up until the last couple of months has been, I want hyper engagement with the crowd I got, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people, because all I really cared about was Columbus and the Golden Triangle. And now that we've started the podcast and some other stuff, like, I'm trying to shine a light on businesses with nothing. Like, I'm not trying to get stuff in return. I just want them. But I'm starting to think, like, well, the bigger I am, the bigger more people are going to see, that sort of thing. And that's what works for you, is like when if you say something nice about somebody else,
oh yeah,
all of a sudden it helps them and raises them up.
It's networking. Like, believe it or not, like, this is networking, because you just don't know, like, the people that you're going to be able to reach. For me, is going to be people that I never even met or see, and then it's gonna be vice versa.
Well, I'm real good friends with Stephen Jones. Like I said, he lives a block away from me, Mr. Mayor, and I went to the party at your place. That's what he and I talk about all the time. Probably our two biggest challenges in the city is he talks about establishing a visible Black middle class, giving kids hope in the schools and that sort of stuff, and then trying to make some more interaction and more meetings between white and Black folks in our town.
Right.
Like, I grew up in New Orleans, so like it was everybody was together. Together.
Right.
We're all broke together, is what I would say.
Right.
And that's how I think about it when we're in town. It's like, man, you got to put yourself in more situations where, there's only two white guys that night at the party, and I'll have a fundraiser at Zachary's, and only two Black guys there. And I was like, nobody intentionally tried to do that in a bad way. And he and I have talked about how we needed almost intentionally do it the other way. Like, hey, come get some wings from me, and you'll see. Like, you're not gonna, it's not dangerous or anything.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, we got to break that barrier, man. Like,
and the only way we can do is hanging out and get to know each other.
Because,
like, that's part of something I talked about during the election, was that a lot of white friends I knew were putting all four Black council persons as one group. As if they met that night and had friends. And if former Councilman Mickens and Beard and Stephen, they're not all happy at each other all the time. They're not best friends. And obviously Leroy and Stephen are like ran against each other. But they both know afterwards you got to get up and move things forward. And look, we are in the deep South, and it's Columbus, Mississippi, and there's some good old boys, but there's more progress being made on it. And people have to go out in public or do interviews like this where, like you said, you reach somebody different and understand that. Most people, 95% of the time, there's nothing there. They just don't know. The same reason they're scared of Middle Eastern people or I mean, scared of just going on a motorcycle. Like
Right.
they just don't know. Now, my 3 teenage daughters never ever go on a motorcycle. I need that little tangent there, but like I said, there's nothing there. There's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah,
And
some people just don't know, and some people really do go off of what they hear and what they talk as well.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a 50-50 ball with that.
Yeah.
But like you said, like if everybody really just get together, you know, black and white, it really don't matter. Like I feel like if everybody pull in together, it'd be less trouble to me.
Yeah, well,
Because what I'm saying is, growing up how I grew up, you know, like if we go to a establishment or a building or a place or anything, and we see older people, that's gonna make us less likely to act. You know what I'm saying? But
as somebody who's almost older people, I
right,
understand,
you know,
yeah.
like it's gonna make us less likely to act up, and then vice versa. If you older and then you go to a, you gonna be like, well, I probably don't need to do this, you know, with all these,
young
you know,
bloods in it.
teachers and these my students and things like that. But you know, like even with blacks and whites, you know, like when, man, I can have a good time with anyone. Like I really like having a good time with anyone. And then when it's more diverse, to me it's less drama, it's less trouble. It's not just problems with places where it's all blacks and then they just fighting and shooting or whatever may be going on, because a lot of people, I mean, the same thing happened in the white bars, you know, like quote unquote, you know, like it's just, the only difference is sometimes like those fights and arguments and whatever altercations, they don't get publicized more.
Well, they don't get, here's and this goes back to, I've talked to a lot of our local African-American politicians and white politicians, but it's always my argument. And the story is the little white girl goes missing. And the newspaper, this is the only thing I can fault any of our local media for and national media. When something happens and it's just instinctive, when it's to somebody who looks like you or goes, the story's more compelling and they follow it, and they don't realize that when the little black girl went missing, it's just as important.
Right.
Some of the national news has probably overdone it trying to react to that sort of thing. But I mean, like, again, there haven't been other things where 150 people died, but like there was a little, the camp in Texas and all those kids, like there's a whole bunch of white people that can empathize with young white ladies who went missing. And that's been historically the narrative in the media, is that a little white girl goes missing.
Right.
And I've talked to the last 2 police chiefs who've done a lot better job here. Starkville does an exceptional job here of when there's a shooting, explaining like these 2 people knew each other. This isn't random. That's the quote we hear about Columbus a lot. Oh, those gangs. Like, I couldn't get you here if I tried.
Right.
Now, today, while we're recording this, it's a little after 2:00. If you want to die tonight in New Orleans, I can get you killed.
Right.
I definitely can get you shot or get your car stolen. Like, there are places that you can go, especially me, where I can go and they're going to take my, go.
Right.
I couldn't get you hurt here. You're more likely to get your tire changed on 14th Avenue North here than you are to get shot.
I think like to me, and I love, you know, the commercial dispatch, you know, like the people, but the media controls the narrative of everything, you know, like you said, they don't put enough information in there to see. Like, we have so much backlash on Columbus that you can't even get people to come over here. And like, I feel like Yo Bar was one of the reasons that we brought a lot of revenue into the city. We brought a lot of artists to the city. We don't get credit for anything. You know, like we hired a lot of people. Hotels made money. The stores made money. The Waffle House made money. Boutiques made money. You know, everybody made money when we brought artists to the city, you know. And then once, what people don't understand, we get this a lot. After we shut down. We didn't get shut down. Yeah. A lot of people think that the first thing they say is they close y'all down. No, it's no day. We decided to do that. But once we shut down, like, it's like the city went dry. Like dead, like people didn't have anything to do. You know?
And I'll argue the timing of, think about how long were you, 14 months you were down?
13 months.
13 months. I mean, you're not directly responsible or not responsible for crime, but it's been this year's been really quiet. Yeah. And you're just one of many outlets of stuff for kids to do. But when we say like kids need stuff to do, they usually mean 14-year-olds who should be at the Boys and Girls Club. 22-year-old kids need stuff to do too.
Oh yeah.
Like I worry to death about the older my daughters get because I know what they're looking for. And I grew up in a city I'm amazed I survived going out at 2 a.m. in New Orleans in the early 90s. And like here you hear about, like they're going to smoke weed or do something. But like if they're just driving around looking for fun, that usually is looking for trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And kids, adults, and I refer to kids anybody under 25, they need stuff to do too.
Yeah.
And some of them don't feel comfortable going to Buffalo Wild Wings, white, black, or other. Some people, or they don't want to. And we, like I said, we don't have a huge boat. Like a couple of the restaurants downtown have moved away from not really being a bar anymore,
right.
Which is fine. That's what they want to do. I just think it's funny. Like I said, when I moved here, this place had been for 50 years, had been the place to go drinking,
right?
Like a drinking town, and it's kind of calmed down. But yeah, I think if people give you a try over there, they'll do it. I don't get mad at the media. Because some things are just their perspective. And a lot of times I'm glad that, I don't know if you know, the Dispatch has started a podcast and started talking to people and they went through this election. So yeah, you need between the headlines. But like they had every single person who's running for office on there, city attorney, like I think they have George Irby and some other people scheduled. Like, and you can hear more about the editors, like real opinions on stuff and talks about, like they need more time to talk about stuff. Because when you just put in a headline, no matter how much work you do, the next day, whatever that headline is out. So like the headline this week on the paper was there was mold in a fire station. Well, they knew it's been going on for like a month and a half. And I have friends who are like, well, your friend's mayor now and there's mold. And I'm like, it was already like.
It's already a thing.
I was like, it's fixed. I was like, but that's what I do like. We're not in New York. If you want to go talk to the mayor, you can go talk to him. The last 4 mayors since I've been here, or 3. Like I know Robert because I went to go to Robert. And I'm like, hey, nobody, we keep calling about this. He's like, oh, well, we'll fix it. Like they all want what's better. They want things to get better.
Oh yeah.
And I think people just need to get to know you. Well, as we're wrapping up here, tell me about the chair business, the throne business.
The throne business. Okay. So, man, I just spent $6,000 on
thrones.
On thrones. I just spent $6,000, but I actually sold my older chairs that I had them for like 8 years, 7, 8 years or something like that. So I sold them because I was getting everything situated with the bar, and I knew I wasn't going to have time at the time. And as soon as I sold them, everybody wanted to rent out throne chairs. I actually tried to sell them to Prestige Rentals.
Yeah.
I reached out to them. We talked. It wasn't a good time. They wanted them. It just wasn't a good time, money wise at the time. And so I try to keep them here to someone, a couple of local decorators and stuff like that. Money just tight. So they just didn't have it to buy. Somebody from Memphis, a lady from Memphis actually came down here and bought all of them.
There you go. What do most people rent them for?
It'd be different things. Now, the biggest thing is going to be like a wedding or like baby showers.
Yeah.
But, I do church anniversaries, photo shoots, just any type of event, really, if they want a chair. Yeah. I have 4 new colors in, all white, all black, all gold, all gray.
Wow. I've talked about on this show a lot of times how people don't understand how many different opportunities there are. My kids wash cars and babysit and stuff. That's just the tip of the iceberg on people want services. They want reliable services from somebody they trust. If people want to support you and help you, so you can go ahead and pitch every single one of them specifically, but photography, the chairs, and then like the restaurant. And then do you do any catering or anything with the restaurant?
Yeah, we actually do. We do wing trays. So not every Wednesday. So on Wednesdays, it's like every other Wednesday. We do like a wing crush Wednesday. So that's 75-cent wings, or we do $50 platters, like 50 piece for $50, something like that. So we have different deals throughout the week. So I want everybody to be aware that we're going to have on a Thursday, it's going to be a 2 for $25. So basically it's going to be 2 entrees for $25.
Okay. What kind of food do y'all have there?
So we have wings, we have fried catfish, we have the Cajun chicken pasta, Cajun fish pasta, lamb chops, lemon pepper chicken breast, appetizers, things of that nature. So we got a pretty good menu.
Okay. What are the hours now?
Okay, so we're closed on Mondays. So Tuesday through Thursday, it's 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. On Fridays and Saturdays, we're open at 4 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And on Sundays, we open from 11 to 4.
Well, this is going to count as a personal endorsement for the wings.
Okay.
And now I'm going to talk. My kid is hooked on wings, so we're going to come see you this week to get some more
I
stuff.
sure appreciate it.
And then for the photography and the chairs, how do they get in touch with you?
You can my personal page on Facebook is Ledrico Isaac, Ledrico, last name Isaac. You can also look on Yo Bar Columbus, and I have a personal page for the photography is Isaac Images.
There you go. And I want to say this: he's been employing folks, and I said every time that register goes through, some of this money's going to the city of Columbus too. So
most
there's some time when people are having a party on their back porch or cooking their own wings, the money may go to the grocery store, but it's not the kind of tax rate that a restaurant comes up. Yes. And the restaurant gives money to the tourism association, the restaurant tax and everything else, and people just don't understand it. So they need to get to know you, and they need to stop by. There's on Military Road, just halfway in between Lowe's and Lion Hills Country Club. It's right there. And
correct.
Always got food to go. Is there a number? Do you know the number at the office?
Yeah. The number for the Yo Bar is 662-364-1786.
Well, good deal, man. Thanks for coming on today.
Appreciate you, man.
It's been good for business.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.